Okay, let's begin. How to play Csgo. Okay, in Csgo, there's some basic stuff that you need to know. Okay, there's movement, your natural aim, and when you combine those two together, you have your crosshair placement. Okay, for movement, when you press the A and D keys, you strafe left and right. If you want to get 100% accuracy on a person that you're trying to kill, what you do is you counter strafe. Basically, when you're holding the D key, you basically stop instantly when you press the opposite key. So you hold A and then D, and then you just stop instantaneously on that person. Okay, so let's say, for example, like you're trying to kill a person. Like, okay, let's say you're playing there's a CT holding here, right, and you know that he's playing there. So instead of like running and then spraying anyhow, what you do is peek out, stop, shoot, and you have 100% accuracy in that person, so you kill him with one shot. So it looks like this, just something around those lines. Okay, those are your counter strafe. Your aiming can be split in two parts: your natural reaction and your recoil control, which is like how you control your recoil. So like this, exactly like that, like how you can maintain the spray into one fixed point, right? Now, to improve your natural aim, you can always go to these maps, aimbots, aim map, wipe rack aim, aimbots, and you just train it for hours, and then you just keep like practicing how to move your mouse as smooth as possible. For recoil control, you can always go to recoil master and just practice for each weapon. And when you combine those two together, you have crosshair placement. So what is crosshair placement? So you need to understand the fact that in CSGO, people play typical spots or common spots around the map. If you're defending, like, people will hold like this, they'll hold like this, they try to hold like this, right? And instead of wasting time swinging and then reacting to the person the moment you see him, what you do is that you predict where he's gonna be. So if I have like a person right here on this part, instead of like swinging out and reacting, you can just like pre-aim the position as you're peeking out. So like I'll pre-aim this, so I can just like shoot him before he can even react on me, right? And it doesn't only need to be like pre-aiming the spot, so that when you strafe, you aim at his head like this or like this. What you can do is that as you're approaching a corner, you can like slowly move your mouse, and then you can basically like track around the corner, basically like move your crosshair as you approach the corner. But you should only try to do the tracking part if like you're walking and you're playing a like a lurk position or some shit. Now, in crosshair placement, there's a lot of things that you should know. One of them is, so apart from pre-aim, you have how to peek, right? So let's say I have an opponent here. Okay, you have a CT guy there, and you want to clear the area of common spots. So what you do, the first one is jiggle peek. Like every now and then you try to gain a visual like confirmation of where the person is. Like you just jiggle your character model until you can see like where there's a person there. And the purpose of jiggle peek is that if you're having an op or a rifle even, right? Let's say you have a rifle, okay, and then you see someone's shoulder, your first instinct is to shoot. So once you hear that, once we hear someone shooting, you can back off, and then you can make the appropriate play. If you're going up against like an oppo, right, and let's say for example, right, you have an opper at mid, you have an upper mid, and you're holding this spot. What they're usually aiming away from the wall, so that they're like expecting the wide swing. So when they're expecting the wide swing, when they see a character model suddenly like move out and then go back, their first instinct is to react, right? So you're basically like the second one is basically baiting the the opper to shoot at you. Like you only see your shoulder, but you don't actually see the person. So it looks like this. Like you don't actually see the person. So like going back to where my example is. So when you do a shoulder peek, highly recommended to use a knife because it's faster. Like you can just jiggle, and like it's harder for them to hit you. You can try with an AK, but it's much more slower, or any other weapon, but it's very slow. So you can just do this and then wait for someone to shoot you back, and then you can know that there's a guy there. Last but not least is like, okay, not really last but not least, but you have this thing called walk peek. It's like, so like usually used if you have an opper. I mean if you have an op. I call this called like the crouch or walk peek. Like you just slowly like peek through the corner. And the reason why this is useful, especially if you're op, because you can actually zoom. So the moment you reach the common spot, right, like around here, like you can see the character model, but they can't really see you much. So you can just fire off and you can get the kill. But if you do it in an AK, it's very like difficult, because like the moment you peek out like this, they can see the whole character. So not really recommended. And last but not least is the wide swing. Wide swing usually used if you have the person's right here, like the person is like in a common spot. So but you only use wide swing if like usually you try to bait them. Like for example, right, let's say there's an opper right here and you jiggle him, right, he shoot at you, and then suddenly from his point of view, he's expecting you to peek close, right? He's expecting you to peek like this, like really small, like close to the corner. So once he's pre-aiming that, you try to counter that by swinging wide, and then you can like spray him. So like this, right? You swing wide and you can basically like shoot him, because like he needs to react to move. So like if he's expecting like a close peek, he suddenly need to flick, right, to get to you. So it's really difficult. Another thing about like the basic CSGO stuff, this time is holding angles instead of peeking them. When you're holding angles, depending on what gun you use, it affects how you're gonna get the kill. If you're using scoped weapons where you have a zoom, it's fine to hold like a close angle like this, right? It's okay, because like you can just flick, right? If you're really good, you can just flick. But if you're not sure, you can always like leave a gap, so that instead of like reacting to where the person is winging, you can just basically like wait for them to come into your crosshair. But for rifles, it's highly recommended you don't get close, because it's harder to control the spray. Like see how it goes everywhere. So you just hold far away and wait for them to pick you, and then you can just spray them like this. Okay. And apart from holding angles, there's also off angles, right? Off angles are places where people don't play common spots, right? So in Mirage, a CT likes to play default like this. Then they'll just peek, pop, pop like this, right? But if, for example, we know that there's always a spot here, right? Let's say I'm playing against a CT like that, then I can just flash him, and then I can just PM that spot, right? But to counter that, what he can do is like he can do this, maybe. Like he can do this and then pick away from the flash and then spray me down. Because from my point of view, I'm expecting this pre-aim, and then suddenly he's right there, so I die first. So off angles are really important. Then the one that, unfortunately, I'm not saying it's wrong, but what Min likes to do, sometimes can't, is that instead of like, this one is just playing on, there's also two types of angles that you need to know, like holding angles. There's a passive one, like all the way back. Using passive angles is more of like relying on your teammates, like waiting for them to like, like waiting for reinforcements to come, right? And like just shooting damage, not actually getting the kill. Maybe using your utility, like delay the push. Then there's also like aggressive angles that Min and Ken like to use. Like if they die, they die. But if they actually make this like angle work, they can kill the whole team. So although I get angry on what Kent and Min do, I know for a fact that if Kent or main have an SMG, right? They can just kill the whole team. Like, it's gonna happen. It's actually gonna happen. Obviously in lower elo, but it doesn't. But in higher elo, you can't really. You get punished for those kind of strats. Okay. Where to begin? Okay, let's start as CT, because CT is very simple. You have only two things that you need to do as a CT: deny the bomb plant, and if there's a bomb plant, you retake and get a defuse, right? So in CT, there's a lot of phases into the round. First is like denying the rush phase by mollying, right? Then that's usually the first phase. It's like denying any type of rushes by mollying or smoking, right? Then the second phase is like gathering for information. Like, let's say for example we're going against like a 5-man team that knows what they're doing, okay, which is impossible, but it happens sometimes. So usually what happens, like, let's say for example we're going up against a team that knows what they're doing, right? So you can't like just, you know, molly this. Like, they purposely wait for you to waste all of your nades, right? So the second part, so as a CT, you need to know how to balance your usage of your utility, whether or not, like, you need to make a guess, or not really a guess, but like a smart guess in a sense of when to use your nades. Like, am I like, are they gonna rush? Are they gonna play slow? Are they gonna do an execute? Are they gonna do a default? Okay. So it really depends on how you like react to the initial early stages of the match. Early stage of the map should always be to deny any fast like entrance into the site, you know, by smoking or mollying, or just like, you know, just holding the map in general. As you get later and later into the rounds, information is more important than utility. You'll see in pro matches, like, what they'll do is that they'll have a guy here and then they'll flash for the person who's like playing close at A main. So what they'll do is that they'll hold this and then they try to get a peek, and then they'll try to like sneak around the map, trying to figure out whether they're at A, at B, or whatever. Okay, basically planning where the people are gonna go. Because if you don't know where, if you don't have like information of where the enemy is, you can actually get punished by that. Okay, like if you play too passive, right? Like, let's say for example you're the type of like CT, like let's say I'm playing against a team that don't like to push, just hold the map. The only way for like us to get totally beaten by those people is just have like a 5-man stack doing an execute, and we can't do anything, and they can just like overrun the site, and we'll practically lose the match, right? And then you need to wait for 3 people to like rotate. So to prevent those situations, you need to gather information so that, okay, so like let's say for example I'm the B apps guy, right? And I'm like slowly pushing into the second, like in the late and mid stages, and I see, okay guys, there's no one here. So knowing that there's no one at B apps, the people at B short, mid, they can make the adjustment to hold A because it's the most likely hit, right? Common sense. Apart from, okay, so that's basically it. There's also the retake phase. So let's say for example they get a bomb plant, right? And you want to retake. You don't necessarily have to fight and die, you know, like fight the enemy until the death. You can afford to like maybe get a kill, nade, and then fall back, and then just hold a passive position and wait for your teammates to come by and help you, you know. Like, you can help them flash like this, and then you can peek out, and then you guys can like do the typical retake, like molly this, smoke this, so you can cross, and then like maybe like defuse the bomb, right? So it's all about knowing how to react to this situation as a CT. Like, it's not about getting the kills. Like, yes, kills are important, but if you get like 2 or 3 kills, but your teammate, like 4 of your teammates are low on HP because you're like basically waiting for them to die, then it's not a good play. It's about knowing how to react with the situation. Okay, and CT must also know, okay, this is the last one, is that there's this thing called map control. You can't like basically, like if you're gonna play as a CT, right, you can't let the terrorists control all parts of the map. You can't just let them go mid, you know, like walk like this, or control apps. You can't just like let them take these parts of the map easily. Like the apps, like for example palace, I mean that's gonna be theirs. But for mid or B short or things like this, don't give them too much control. Map control is as important as information, okay? Because if they have control, let's say for example, so okay, I'll smoke B short, I'll smoke this. So let's say they do this typical like mid take, right? And they have control of mid. If they have massive control around the map, like they have one guy here, one guy here, like two guys here, and one guy there at B, they can basically spread our like movement. So basically we can't have a good grasp of the situation because they're everywhere. So instead of like us concentrating to one spot to focus fire on like the enemy, we're spread out. We can't help each other. We're all focused trying to like defend our own part of the map. So we're trying to defend mid, we're trying to defend B, we're trying to defend A. So when you have like the nades at the start of the round, you should try to prevent like map control from being taken easily. So if you see me sometimes, like okay, whenever I play with you guys, when I have a spawn, I always say okay, I'll push con. The reason for this, right, is that I don't want to have them control of mid, so I'll flash over so that if they're gonna get through mid and try to take control, they have to go through me and the upper here. Even if it's a 2v3, the fact that okay, there's 3 people there, I can fall away, and all of us have the knowledge that the mid is being contested, right? And we know how to react accordingly. We can't just give away the map for free, basically. Now, as a T side, it's basically opposite CT. You plant a bomb, you defend the bomb plant. That's it. And there's multiple ways of doing this. You can do a rush, which is like okay, rush B, okay, like basically like stack everyone and basically go there. You can do a fake where you have like a set amount of people trying to do like a certain execute, but the bomber goes to the other side. There's also the typical like lurker play as a T side where everyone is going to one spot, but one guy would try to like catch rotates, like try to hold nest from here, and maybe one guy will like CT will drop them from B short, and then you can kill him and you can kill the 2 people holding the mid, right? That's the more advanced play. But in Csgo, if you watch the pro plays or even like typical higher rank right, what they usually do is that they'll spread around the map, right? Spread around the map, what they call default, where they're gonna take control of the map, deny information to the CT on where they're going. So the point of this is that by spreading around the map, the CTs don't know where they're gonna hit basically, and they don't have control of the map. Like if you have mid, the typical logic is that if you have control of the center part of the map, you can decide where to go, and it's hard for the defending team to defend the side, because by having more people focus on the central part, you're being like exposed to the wings of the map. So it's like football ba, like okay, think of it like in football terms or any sports. If one part of the map is being defended, another part will always be open. So always think of it this way, okay? Wherever you contest the map, some place will be open. That's the whole point. That's the whole point of default. You want to contest each part of the map such that they don't know how to defend it properly. They don't know how to you're forcing them to make mistakes, okay? Then the last but not least, that typical execute. So back then when I was in the other team, like the Imperials, I made some set strats, like for example like how to do a B execute. Like I remember there was this smoke that I learned. Was it this? Okay, the smoke here, and then there's a smoke for the one of the McDonald's, if I'm not wrong. Okay, I remember there was like 2 smokes that you can do from here. One from this side and one from here. So basically the two smokes would go to McDonald's. Okay, like these two smokes, and then there'll be a smoke here. So basically there's just a tree smoke. So when the executes come, right, is to basically increase the chances of you getting the site. That way you can do whatever, you know, like how to flash, and then you guys can control the site. Okay, that's basically it. Now that I covered CT and T side, I'll be teaching you how to use your grenades, all of your grenades properly, from mollies, smoke, flashes, and your HE nade. Okay, so let's start with the most basic one first. HE nade are usually something that I prefer to use late into the round, because usually they're half HP and one nade is enough to kill them all. Or you can use it like, or in another scenario, let's say for example, right, that they don't care about your molly and they just smoke it, so your molly becomes useless, but you still want to deny a rush. So let's say for example, right, you're playing B pistol round, okay, and instead of using like a grenade, like a molly, they'll just like smoke it and don't give a fuck about it. If you want to deny that, instead of using a molly, which is expensive, you just throw a grenade, and you can deal as much as like 200 utility damage in the whole team, and they'll think twice about it, because if all of your teammates are low, you just need like 2 or 3 body shots and they're dead, provided you don't have armor, of course. So if for example, that usually, so basically the bottom line of grenade is that if you want to deny a rush and they're always exploiting your molly, use the nade. If it's late into the rounds and they're low, use the nade. Now for flashbang, oh, there's a lot of ways to actually use a flashbang. There's obviously the supported type of flashbang where you can do this, like support your team into the site, like as a support player, like you can try to help flash for your team, and then so the rest of your team can push. Okay, there's also the self pop flash that you can do when you don't have any support. You can do this. And then there's also like this one is for like high level, like you're purposely like showing your flashbang so that they turn away, but it will be like, so basically, okay, think about it this way. If you're the opponent and you see the flashbang heading towards you, you look away, right? So there's a trick where you can purposely show that you're gonna throw a flashbang, but instead of like blinding you, it would be like it would land around here, right? So you won't actually get blind, but since they saw the trajectory, you won't get blinded, but they'll look away, so you just spray into them. Do you get it? I'll show you an example. So like I'll do this when I'm defending. They'll look away. Like they'll look away because they saw where the flashbang is going. So when they look away, I spray into them. Okay, that's one of the flashes that I know. And then there's also what I like to do. Wait, let me try to remember. Okay, I think that's all. If I'm not wrong, that's all. Alright, that's all. Okay, so a flashbang is usually used to try to help support your teammate if they want to peek, right, and you flash for them. There's also, oh yes, I forget, there's actually multiple ways to effectively flash your opponent. If you're supporting your teammates, flash behind them. So, okay, so if you see this trajectory, right, so let's say your teammates over here said, okay, I need a flash. So if you flash behind them, they won't get blinded and they can just spray through your enemy, right? But if it's gonna be in front of them, like around here, tell them beforehand, tell them to look away. Okay, so it really depends where you need like proper communication. So let's say for example I'm playing CT and then David's like, Sebs, I need a flashbang, can you put it in front of me? If he says in front of him, then he needs to look away so that he can properly attack the opponent. If he says, okay Seb, can you flash behind me? Then you flash, you pop, you get a kill. So every time we take A, usually I'll flash in front, then I'll flash behind. The in front, the reason why I flash in front first is to obviously like flash the CT opper, so he'll fall away. And then the second one is the first one is to flash everyone inside, okay? But our teammates hasn't entered the site yet. The second one is to be behind them so that they can push in, and then it will flash the people that wasn't blinded on the first flash. Okay. Now smokes. Smokes are very, very important. Please, for the love of God, do not waste your smokes. I see so many people do this, right? And then suddenly they have nothing to defend against a rush or like a full-blown execute. If it's my rule of thumb, if it's below 1 minute, use your smoke. Even then, please limit the use, okay? Unless you know it's gonna be a rush, please limit the use, okay? Using your smoke as a CT, you can use it as a one-way. Like for example, you can do this. Actually, it's even more useful like as a one-way. Like they can't see you, but you can see them. It's also to deny a push, right? It's usually to deny a push and deny vision and information. It prevents like random like operas from killing you, okay? Like common sense. That's the whole point of smoke. But the smoke is not only that, okay? The smoke is very good in like giving away false information. So every now and then I'll do this in MM if I'm the last one alive. Like I'll do a fake smoke, right? So if you're playing on high level rank and they see this type of smoke, right, the first instinct, okay, this guy's probably going B, because the smoke is for B, they're gonna call, and then unless, okay, so usually it works where one guy would rotate because they see a smoke there, and then you can just freely take the site. So always like have some knowledge about using like how do you call this, like actually trying to learn some fake smokes for some sites, right? Like maybe like you can do this from all the way BFs. If I'm not wrong, it should hit, yes, it should hit CT like this. So if you're like clutching, you can do this, and then yeah. Oh wow, this is actually a really good smoke. Wow, okay, I should learn this. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Okay, there's a lot more that I can teach you, but this is the most basic and like fundamental thing about CS. Oh, I haven't done. Oh, Molly, like common sense. If you want to like push a person out of position, you wait for them. You throw a Molly, and then you wait for them to peek out, because they won't, unless they want to die, they're gonna get out of there. Or you can use it to stop a rush. End of story. Okay, cool.